welcome to Let's Trauma Bond podcast episode number 6.
Okay.
You guys, I am so excited today to have our first guest ever. Ooh. My friend Nesha. She goes by Nesha by Nature. She's an amazing entrepreneur, has a nonprofit. She is a mom. She is a self-love and intuitive coach.
Okay.
So I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell you a little bit about what she do and where you can follow her.
Thank you so much, Queen. Well, I appreciate that introduction. I'm super excited to be here, first of all. I've been rooting for Joanna since day one, like since I first met her. So just a quick little background. When I first met Joanna, it was at the very beginning of my entrepreneurship journey. And I decided to put myself out there, and I attended the vendor event, the monthly vendor event at the Black Market here in Minnesota. And I saw her, and when I first saw her, I'm like, this girl, she has a glow and it's so beautiful. And I think in that place, in that time of my life, I was okay with just like stepping out of my own comfort zone, and recognizing too, like, it's hard to find friends, and like really, like, it's hard to find friends after a certain age, right? So I started putting myself out there as an entrepreneur, but also like finding ways to network and connect with other people. And when I found, like, when I would come across people with like a certain aura or like a certain, like, I don't know, like a certain vibe, I'm like, I gotta say something to them.
I love that.
And that's how it was, instantly we clicked. I ended up, saying to her how beautiful her aura was. She was selling her lingerie at the time, and I thought that was also very inspiring too, that the story behind why she was selling her lingerie for plus size women, it was just beautiful, so ever since then I feel like we clicked. So she's something like my little sis now.
Period.
But yes, my name is Nesha by Nature. I'm a mother, I'm a healer, and I'm learning that I'm multifaceted. Like, I have a lot going on right now. Putting myself out there continuously and finding myself evolving while putting myself out there. And so hopefully, during this podcast, we can kind of unveil a little bit more and get into more in depth, because I ain't creating no introduction. So
yeah, because we got to get in depth on Woman on Wednesday.
Yes.
And for you guys to follow her and stuff. So like at the end, we can make sure that we put all her social medias. I'll put it in the description box as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you are listening to this on Spotify, at the end, you'll be able to hear where you can follow her at and a lot more. Because she needs to tell a lot more about Women on Wednesday, okay?
Yeah, and I will.
I love Nesha. Like, she just has a whole different aura herself. Because when she first met me, I tell her this too. But she was like, oh, we going to be friends. We going to go out. We going to do this. I was like, who? I don't trust people. Like, who? I don't do new friends.
I feel you.
And we became so close. So we have a thing in common, which we're going to be talking about today on the podcast, is our VSG journey. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of you guys follow me for weight loss and VSG. A lot of people either considering it or they already had it, and they come to trying to find like inspiration, motivation, or tips and stuff like that, or what to expect. Yeah. So I have some questions.
Okay.
Y'all, I'm trying to be professional on this podcast, so I
love it.
I brought some questions.
And I don't know what questions she has. I really love being like put on the spot, because I can be really witty and really quick on my feet. So
and your authentic self.
And I'm yeah.
I want to first go through your journey of like what made you get VSG. Mm-hmm. When did you get VSG? Just starting there.
Yeah. So just for y'all that don't know what VSG stands for, if this is not your first time, or if this is your first time following Joanna journey, VSG stands for vertical sleeve surgery, right?
Vertical sleeve gastrectomy.
Gastrectomy. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Listen, I need to know too. Vertical sleeve gastrectomy. So yeah, like what really got me into it was, first of all, it was like introduced to me in 2019, and 2019, I was going through a lot. I was in the darkest place of my life, and I didn't honestly see myself going through the surgery at first because I was scared. Like, I'm like, I've never done any major surgery or any like anything major in the hospital. I have never had to do anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then just hearing stories, and then when I shared it with other people, like family, people that I, was telling people like, this is what my doctor is recommending, everybody said don't do it. Like,
don't listen to them people.
Yeah, don't listen to people.
Go with your own mindset.
Go with your own mindset. Yeah. So when it was first introduced to me, I was just scared. So there was a lot of fear of even trying it. But then I started doing my own research and watching a lot of videos on YouTube, watching other women going through the journey, which was nice and inspiring. So it's really nice if you are considering it and you're watching Joanna's journey. That's the first way that I believe to start breaking your mindset around it. So that's kind of how it was kind of introduced, right? I was the heaviest in my life. I am a mom of 3, and the heaviest I got was 330 pounds, and I'm only 5 feet even, y'all. I'm really short, and so carrying 330 pounds was honestly extremely uncomfortable, and I didn't love myself. I did not feel comfortable. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel healthy, and so it was kind of like a lot of good reasons to get the surgery, but again, the mindset around fear stopped me from getting it. So COVID hit 2020. Something happened spiritually. I feel like I just started focusing more on my spiritual journey, and because I focused more on my spiritual journey, that meant that I was working on my relationship with God, and I was strengthening my relationship with God, and kind of identifying myself more like, who am I? Who do I want to be? And in that time, 2020, 2019, like I was in the darkest place of my life. So it just felt like it was time for a change, like time for transformation, time for change. So I did try working out. I tried doing all these things, eating healthier, but it wasn't, I kept failing. Around 2021 is where I kind of started seeking a sense of self, like, with the who am I? Now I'm like, okay, what is God telling me to do in my life? And a lot of the things that I was being told to do, it aligned with, you got to get yourself together. Like, you got to you got to figure out this weight stuff. Like, you got to get yourself together, because if you don't, you're going to die. Like, you're not going to, you know what I mean? You're not going to, and not to say that, because I didn't have any like major health issues, to be honest, except for sleep apnea, obviously being obese and overweight, and I was pre-diabetic, so I wasn't never really diagnosed with anything other, like, really extreme, but it was still very uncomfortable, and it runs in my family. Everybody's heavier or overweight, and so again, I just felt like I had this whole spiritual awakening where it was just like, it's time for you to change. So I started watching a lot of YouTube, obviously, like, other women's journeys on VSG. And then I told my doctor I'm ready. So I ended up getting a surgery in 2022.
Yeah, it had to be, because I got mine in 2023.
Okay,
that's
a year before.
The crazy thing is, when I met her, I had already was going through the process of going through like the nutritionist and like working out and stuff, and building up my confidence to get to the surgery. So at one of the pop-up shops I was at, she was like, oh, like, I'm gonna be getting weight loss surgery. I was like, girl, me too. Yeah. Actually, like, this is crazy. But I really connect with the spiritual aspect of that, because I feel like the weight loss journey, especially when you're doing like weight loss surgery, it's like such a spiritual journey that 100%. You have to like connect with yourself and connect with God, and you have to understand like why you're doing this for yourself, and understand that it's a part of loving yourself, because a lot of people will try to sidetrack you during that journey and deter you and just tell you these negative stories about other people's situations, and it's going to be up to you to know who you are and know what God wants for you. Because I feel like when I started to lose the weight, God was like, okay, you surrendered these things, now you're going to get more more opportunities, you're going to learn yourself more, you're going to love yourself more, but it's a spiritual thing, and just being within your mind of understanding yourself, because the mental is like the most important aspect to 100%. It. So yeah, I got mines in some of you guys, if this is your first time watching me, when my highest weight was 326 pounds. And that was the heaviest I ever was in my life. I mean, at that time, I knew I was big, but I didn't feel like I was that big.
And that's how it is with all of us. I don't think any of us, like, we know we're big, but we're not really looking at ourselves like that. So after that drastic change, you're like, dang, Jesus.
When you go back and look at pictures, you
oh
be
my
like,
God,
that's me.
that was me.
So it's kind of crazy because I was like, I didn't think too much of it, And then when I went through the journey, it finally made a decision because I knew about weight loss surgery since I was like in high school. My doctor kept telling me, the same doctor I have now, kept telling me, oh, you should consider it. You should consider it. I'll get the paperwork in the mail. I'll fill it out, never send it in. I'll just never do it.
Yeah.
I was just like
hesitant,
fearful. And then I finally, when it's the right time, when you really want to do that. But we're going to get into a little bit about kind of taking you through the childhood of like, when did you notice that you were gaining weight?
Wow.
And how did you feel during that time?
Yeah. I think for me, I feel like I've always been heavier, but you got to think about culture and what's acceptable and what's normalized in culture. I think in the Black and African American culture, a lot of us can agree that like being a little thicker is kind of normal. But when you go to the hospital, they're telling you you're overweight, you're obese, or whatever. So I was always kind of like heavier. But when I got into high school, I got more athletic. So I was really like slim thick with my cute ass.
Period.
I was really like slim thick, but I still thought I was fat because I was always told like you're 5 feet tall. I was 4'11 and a half for a very long time, but I was always told like you're 4'11 and a half and you're 145 pounds. Like you need to be 120. You need to be 115. And so I did see myself as fat and overweight. Honestly, high school body was goals.
Period.
I would show a picture if I could, but it was goals. Like today, I'm like, I would love to be 145 because I was really nice. Like it was really proportioned, But again, I grew up with that mindset that I was heavier, I was bigger, and I felt like, and then honestly, all my life I was bigger, but again, high school I got more athletic, so I lost the weight and I got more slim. But then after having kids is when the weight came and it kind of stuck. And I feel like I'm still stuck with a lot of mommy weight, and I know that might sound crazy for some people, but when you're a mom, you kind of know that it could be obviously like mommy weight, but I'm also very spiritual, so I'm aware of holding energetic weight, which manifests in the physical. So I know that I got some healing to do, right? I got some stuff that I got to release and let go of because I'm an emotional eater. So let's, going back to childhood, I didn't have words to these things, but I was an emotional eater. And I was always like addicted to like chips, like something crunchy and salty. Not really much of a candy girl, but I love chips. Like, so I didn't grow up with like the best diet, I would say. I didn't know anything about nutritional, nothing. I was just eating how my mama was cooking and how we know best. So I think that, culturally that played a huge role in like me being overweight in my childhood and being exposed to certain things. And I feel like spiritually I'm learning and I'm actually in a space right now where I want to start digging deeper. Something in my soul keeps saying like, figure out the root cause of why you're so addicted to chips. Because even to this day, I've had VSG, but I've gained a lot of, I want to say I gained a lot of weight back, but I've gained some weight back, right? And I'm not quite at the goal where I really want it to be. A lot of it has to do with, I may have thyroid issues. So it's sometimes other things that play a part in your weight. And I say may because there was a mass found in my throat. It's still there. And they wanted to perform surgery. And I said no. Because they said it wasn't cancerous. There's nothing like, there's nothing with the mass, but it's mass. And again, I'm very spiritual. So I'm just trying to connect it to something spiritual. Like, is your throat chakra blocked? Is your throat chakra overworked? Like, what's going on with your throat chakra? And that's really where I want to focus on right now. That's why I say I know I got some spiritual healing to do. So, for all my spiritual girlies, y'all already know. If you know, you know. For y'all that don't know, that's just kind of how my brain is wired. It's like I'm always trying to figure out a root of where it's coming from. So for me, childhood stuff stems from just the way that I was culturally brought up and how I was eating and how I normalized certain foods and developed certain habits. And then now that I'm a woman and I'm literally trying to find myself and figure out myself on my spiritual journey, I'm trying to identify things like when you get upset, you're eating. When you get mad, you're eating. When you're stressed, you're eating. Like, what is
Where
that?
Is it stem? And that's a big thing I focus on. If y'all don't know, I'm a certified weight loss coach, okay? If y'all want to book a session with me, y'all can go on my website, www.imperfectlyfit.org. And I also have a description box. But that's one thing that I really focus on a lot is the mental aspect, because there's a lot of emotional things. Yes. And I really feel like obesity stems from childhood trauma.
It does.
I don't care what nobody say. I don't know nobody that's obese that really didn't go through a lot of deep, dark things that made them turn to food, right? And so for me personally, with the childhood, I relate to that a lot of just thinking that you're fat, even at a young age when you're really not big and you're being taught by doctors that you're overweight. You're being taught by family members that you're overweight. And you start doing this self-talk, negative talk to yourself. So getting back into that topic, I was pretty much talking about like the things that we believe as a child and just being told that we're overweight or we're eating too much or like we're chubby, and just the comments that you get from family, from the doctors and stuff will start having you feel like, oh, well, I'm already this way. You start to believe it. I think that's a big part of just manifestation in general.
Yes, it is.
Because when your thoughts really control your life and control your future. So when you have all these negative thoughts, and I think that is growing up in a family, in a culture where they weren't taught a lot about, okay, how do we uplift our kids? How do we redirect them? Because to anybody out there, I'm just telling you right now, if you have a child that's obese and you're making your child feel bad that they're obese, or you have a family member that's obese and they're a child and you're telling them they're too big, they need to lose weight, or they're chubby, whatever words you're using, it's on you. As a parent, it's on you, because you are essentially
casting spells. You're casting a spell. And I say that because I read the book, The 4 Agreements, and one of the agreements is your words are impeccable. He spoke and broke that down. Please do your own research and look up the book for yourself. But he pretty much broke down that whole subject and said, us just saying things like that, like you're fat, you're ugly, that if that person receives it as truth, it becomes their belief. And now you've casted a spell onto them. It is on you. And
then they live with that and carry that.
And they manifest it.
Especially as a kid. When we are kids, we're like sponges. So we're taking in all the information. And as a parent, if you see that your kid is struggling, you should be there to help them, redirect them. Because in the culture, we're not taught about nutrition facts. Like, you're eating processed food because your mom got to work 3 jobs. Like, you got to heat it up in the microwave.
And let me just speak on...
Yes.
Let me just speak on the spiritual aspect of breaking cycles. When you are raised in an environment, culture, atmosphere where a lot of that is normalized, being treated that way, living that way, and it's embedded in your mindset and it's embedded in your belief system, it's a challenge to rebel against that. So for those that are out there really working intentionally to break cycles, like myself and Joanna, us doing the VSG is that. Literally, we just told y'all we had to, navigate through people telling us don't do it, or, hearing those, programs and the way we were conditioned. Hearing that growing up, it's really hard to break out of those cycles. So being mindful that it really starts with the mindset.
And the mindset is the most important part, because I tell people too, like with this journey, to really just keep pushing yourself. Like even if you fall off and you push yourself to get back on, focus on the mindset first, because your mind controls everything. If you feel like, oh, I suck, I can't do this, I'm failing, whatever. Well, if you give it negative, you will. And you will stay there. But if you say, okay, well, I had this bad week, I had this bad day, let's get back to it. Oh, okay. And celebrate yourself too when you do have wins. So just a positive mindset, and a mindset of how can I work on myself, better myself in general on this journey. Like I remember when I first started, I had a therapist. I had my own therapist outside of the therapist that you get when you actually have to see a psychologist and stuff for the surgery. And I had to go through childhood stuff, but it was like a lot of focus around relationship, but still it made me self-aware, because I feel like before that I was not self-aware. Like I really thought I don't do nothing wrong, I'm never the problem. So I became more self-aware.
Narcissist.
I'm the best thing that ever happened this day life. So I had to work on that, because it was part of the problem. People weren't also being honest with me either. Like people, when I would ask for feedback, like what can I work on?
Yeah,
they wouldn't communicate. But
that's why your village is important too. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was thinking about that. Like that's why your village is important. When you know that you're having to like recalibrate the way you think about yourself, you have to refine the way that your mindset is, your atmosphere, your environment, that matters. Who you surround yourself, your soul tribe, that matters. Like, so it's important to find your soul tribe.
And we gonna talk about that too, how that switches up too when you lose weight.
Man,
we gonna talk about that.
You gonna be forced to find your soul tribe.
For real. So let me see here what I have on the list. But yeah, the childhood stuff, I always suggest to really, if you are going through this, like with a child that is obese or a teenager or whatever, like really actually try to understand them, why they're going through those things, why they're eating that way, how can you reshape their eating habits. I think in the culture we were pretty much systematically oppressed in a way where it's like we have to eat this junk food. That's all we know. Like we have to cook these low vibrational meals that taste hella good. Okay, they taste high vibrational, but they low vibrational as fuck.
Granny put her foot in it.
But we were raised, and I know I lived in the South, so everything was fried. Everything was sugar, butter, all that stuff. But we kind of tapped into this, but getting a little bit deeper into that, because we had a little conversation. We're going to get a little bit into the trauma bonding in this episode. But what do you feel like caused you weight gain? So if you look back emotionally, if you're an emotional eater, how did that look for you during those times?
Like I said, I turned to food and my favorite snacks and everything whenever life got hard. And life be lifing. One thing on my journey I recognize is, regardless of where you are, it don't matter how successful you become, it doesn't matter how many goals you've achieved, you're gonna come across adversity. So for me, every time I came across adversity, I can't pay my rent, now I'm facing eviction, I'm about to eat up some shit, like I'm stressed, okay? The kids, my car, my man, like any type of problems that I was facing, I would go to food. It was comfortable, it was comforting. And I think that, for me, I had no control. I had no self-control. I still struggle with self-control. That's kind of my next goal on my journey, is to develop a system, and
discipline too.
Discipline, yeah.
Because that's hard as hell.
It is very fucking hard.
Because I think people really be thinking they be like, this bitch she's skinny. This bitch don't eat shit for real. Like they be like, she don't even want to eat no cake. No, I just gotta tell myself, nah, don't eat the cake. Like, okay, you can have it. You can have it at your cheap day. Yeah. Go home. Go cook that. Put that in the air fryer. I have to talk to myself. People really think it's like,
self-talk is important though.
They just think, I had the surgery, so I can just not eat those things. No.
Self-talk is important, and trusting yourself is important. Believing in yourself is important. Because if you talk to yourself and you don't trust yourself, you ain't doing it. And that's where I'm kind of like, I'm in that space where I'm learning how to rebuild that connection with myself.
And listen to yourself.
And listen to myself. And trust myself. Because
that's huge. Yeah. And with the emotional aspect of like going to food, what I will say, I'm just throwing a little joke in here because this is so, I'm happy that I went to food and I ain't went to drugs and crack. And,
there's different outlets.
It's different outlets. I'm glad I just got big and then, go down other avenues. But I feel like when I was a child, like I would be going through a lot of dark times. Like my childhood was so fucking dark. And I didn't even notice how dark it was until I was out of it. And I didn't realize it wasn't normal, because that's the only childhood I knew.
Yeah. When you're in it, you normalize it. You really do. When you're in it, you normalize it, and you think that this is all. I mean, it's all you know. So it's harder when you are transitioning by yourself, and you don't have family, you don't have friends. Like at the very beginning, being exposed to using VSG as a tool, right? everybody was against it. So it's really challenging when you have people around you that's not even seeing it that way, or wanting to venture out differently, or wanting to break those cycles, or wanting to step out and rebel against the only thing that we know. Like, it's really hard.
And I think for that, it's like some of them don't really be looking out for your greatest interest in the first place. Because y'all gonna be like, why is it clipping so much? Why is this audio? Why am I in the car? And it's like, but we getting it together, y'all.
We are. Yeah.
So we're gonna get into the topic now on how, like, having VSG surgery, weight loss surgery, losing weight in general, even if you haven't had weight loss surgery and you lost weight, how it affected your relationships, how your family looked at you. What kind of things did you notice was different when it comes to romantic relationships, friendships, family? I feel like we need to start with family first.
That's so hard. So first of all, I want to just put it out there that I was working on my mindset so much before having surgery that one of the parts of my mindset is literally not giving a fuck about people's reaction to what I did, because I was already struggling with getting the VSG surgery because it was solely based off of other people's opinions. So I worked so hard on my mindset to just really be tuning into what do I want and tuning into what I believe to be my own truth. That one of the parts of that was me truly just being rooted and grounded in my own decisions. So that meant I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care how you feel. However, I did notice with family, I felt like I was treated better. So y'all know that little pretty privilege. Y'all know pretty privilege is a thing. Now, I've always been a pretty girl.
Period.
But I've always been, oh, you look cute for a big girl. Like, I've always been that. And I still get that, too, because I'm still working on my body, y'all. But, like, it's just a different type of reaction. I absolutely was getting a lot of compliments and stuff like that. But then I was hearing some of the underlying, and nothing was really said directly to me, but I would hear it through family that some people would say, like, oh, she ain't even all that, she ain't smaller than me, or, you know, whatever. So they had things, there was some people that I feel like was hating or, you know, was jealous of the transition, which I kind of was already prepared for, because as y'all know, I was watching YouTube videos of other women's journey, and they spoke on that. So it's a real thing. And then I also have a background in psychology and philosophy. And I will never forget in my philosophy class when we talked about changing in an environment that normalizes those type of behaviors, right? Like talking bad on each other, living in poverty, not having a lot, that people tend to have these mindsets where once you are growing and evolving and you're moving like in the opposite direction of what you know that's been normalized, a lot of people look at it like, oh, you think you're better than me, where you think you're going, or it really hurts them and they go through a grieving process of you kind of like transitioning. So I kind of expected people to feel some type of way. So that's the kind of stuff that I was hearing on my through family. Friends, I feel like people are not that direct with me, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. I think I'm just so sweet and I'm so open, but I don't really get like direct things all the time. So I have to use my intuition a lot, my discernment a lot. And I picked up on friends just getting really distant, you know, or feeling some type of way. And I don't get that many compliments, or you're not really supporting me on my journey, or, you know, you in and out just to kind of see what I'm doing, or just tuning in and out because you want to be nosy, but you're not really like vibing with me for real. And then I did have a handful of friends that was there and supportive. So really just it helped me weed out those that are gonna treat me differently because of the surgery, and those that are gonna treat me and support me because of the surgery. So that's something I kind of found with friends. And then romantic.
We need a tea.
Romantic. Y'all remember Mike Jones? Back then, y'all didn't want me. Now y'all all know me.
Period.
So it was like dealing with men who, I ain't gonna say men, young boys, in men bodies, who try to come around, spin the block, who treated me differently when I gained so much weight. Because like I said, in high school, you know, growing up as a teenager, I had a nice body. I was athletic. But then after having kids and going through my really deep, dark depression, And I went through that for a couple years, like 2017, 2018, 2019 is kind of where it was really the darkest of my time of my life and where I got the heaviest. So I experienced a lot of rejection during those times. And those same men came back around, spin the block, trying to talk. And I remember one of my little content videos, I actually talked about that. Because that's the type of experience, that was my truth. Like, that was what I was experiencing. And then, yeah, of course, pretty privilege kicks in. So now I'm pretty girl with a nice body, lost this weight or whatever. I feel like I got a lot more attention and men wanting to do certain things. So that's something that I absolutely experienced for sure.
Yes. And like, I experienced so many similar things, just even like with the family aspect. I had family members be like, oh, wow, like you're the same weight as me. Or, oh, yeah, like I hope you don't get anorexic.
Yeah.
I hope you not trying to like keep getting too small. Yeah. I hope, like, first of all, when I was big, y'all wasn't saying, I hope you ain't trying to get too big.
Y'all wasn't trying to stop me.
Right. But now y'all trying to stop me because y'all feel like it's a competition. Like you don't want me to excel above where you're at. Or you, because I'm thinking, I don't think in my head like, oh my gosh, are we the same size? Yeah, am I smaller than this person? Am I a bigger person? I still feel like I'm bigger than everybody. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that too, like with the body dysmorphia. I don't think like that. I never even compared myself in the past to family or friends because I knew I was just so different and I looked different than anyone that I was around. But it was like a lot of competition. It's still like too, like trying to adjust when it comes to family, trying to understand my eating, like questioning, like, oh, if I don't want to eat certain things, or I don't want to partake in certain things because it doesn't make sense for me, you know, and having that kind of understanding. But it was a lot of, oh, I hope you don't get too skinny. Oh, you feel hard now. Oh, like I hope you're not trying to like starve yourself and shit like that. So I had experienced a lot of that with family, and also people being very happy for you. Like, oh, you look good, you look amazing. But you the same one told me not to get the surgery. You the same one told me my cousin, my auntie, they had a surgery and they gained this. I don't give a fuck.
Everybody had their own opinions. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you have to understand, if you are interested in doing this for yourself, first of all, you got to understand it's not easy. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it if that's what you want for yourself. And you will know if that's what you want for yourself. And don't listen to people, because these are going to be the same people that's going to be like, oh my God, you look amazing. Liking all your stuff, always in your face. But when you were bigger, they didn't give you that same attention, that same energy and love.
And that's the thing, that's what's kind of stressful, being on a journey like that, because I'm the type of person that want y'all know that phrase, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Like, I want somebody who has seen me from the beginning and treated me with just as much integrity and love and compassion and empathy when I was 330 pounds and while I'm 215 pounds. Like, I really want, and when I lose more weight, because my goal is way less than where I'm at right now. But that's the type of people that I want around me on my journey. And sometimes it's really rare. It's really hard to find them. So this journey can be very lonely. It can be very lonely. And that's why it is important for you to find people that are like-minded, that are on similar journeys, that you can trust. Because sometimes it does get really hard and challenging to deal with the up and down battles of like the aftermath of VSG. So you already kind of know what it's like preparing for it, right? Like you go through a lot of changes at the beginning, but then those changes don't end. Like, you continuously experience new changes after the surgery. That it's so imperative to have like really good people around you that you can trust, that will support you,
and that's not going to judge you, because a lot of people even like with friendships, they'll start judging you because they think, oh, bitch, you got it easy. Bitch, you had surgery, bitch. You
such a bad connotation. It's like a negative connotation. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not.
If y'all think, it's not easy. I try to tell these people too. It's like, if you don't think that we can go do the same exact things as you need to research. And that's why it's very important. Like, even what you saying, like, I watch YouTube videos and do this. Did my research before, because some people might go into this and don't even research nothing.
Yeah.
And then they are truly unprepared of what this looks like because they think, I'm never going to be able to eat this amount. I'm never going to be able to eat this type of food. That's going to stop me from gaining weight, or that's going to stop me from whatever.
Yeah.
And when you get knowledge on this, that it is going to eventually really come down to discipline.
Ooh,
it's going to eventually come down to that. And stop thinking people took the easy route when you don't know the fuck.
It's all you.
You gotta be on a liquid diet, bitch. You gotta.
It's the liquid diet.
The liquid diet will already take you out. You still gotta go to work, right?
You gotta be around people that's eating
solids.
And then
they want to come around you eating your favorite foods. Y'all, I will tell y'all this story. I was dating the dude that was, I talked about the last podcast. Y'all. I was dating him doing VSG. And after surgery, this man tried to come to my house with Chipotle.
Oh,
I was pissed. Y'all don't know. I used to love Chipotle.
Food.
I used to eat Chipotle every day.
Yeah.
And you coming to my house when I'm on a liquid diet eating Chipotle? I said, no, you gonna eat that shit in the car. You're not gonna piss me off today. Eat that in the car.
Man.
So like, it's not easy, but people like your friends be like, oh well, I'm trying to lose weight and you just did this and you're losing weight, or your friends. Because I honestly, y'all, when I went through this journey, I was a manifest. I kept saying, oh, I'm gonna be skinny. I don't know. I'm about to be skinny. I'm about to lose weight. I'm gonna do this, whatever. But I was just saying in my head, did I truthfully believe it? For me personally, I feel like being a bigger girl that was 326 pounds, anything was skinny to me. Even under 250 was really skinny to me. My goal,
100 pounds less.
Yes, my goal was to be 250. So when I hit 250, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm shooting for. But I never compared myself to other people, like my friends that were smaller than me, because it was just never in my mindset, because I always been a big girl since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So when I started to get in those situations where like my closest friends were upset because I was getting smaller than them, or a family member is getting kind of anxious because I'm getting smaller than them, I'm like, the fuck? Like, I don't give a fuck. You know, like that's not something that's on the top of my mind.
Exactly.
But you have to understand, when you go through this transition, like she was saying, like, it's gonna be lonely, and you have to be okay with being alone and standing alone through the journey.
To be honest, solitude allows you to sit with yourself enough so that you can actually sort your own shit out. Like, sometimes you do need that. You need that before you are anticipating on getting the surgery. You need that during the surgery, and not say during, like after, technically, or no, during, like while you're preparing for it, and then after. Like, you still need solitude, moments of solitude anyway. So if it forces you, you know, certain situations forces you to go into solitude, I mean, that's great, but it's imperative for you to take time out for yourself anyway, to really continuously sharpen and build that relationship with yourself, so that you can be more grounded, because you are going to be hit with a lot of people around you. We just talked about different dynamics: family, friends, intimate. Like, you're going to be hit with a lot of different angles, where people may try to deter you or you know, down you because of your decisions. So,
and if you're not mentally strong enough, you might start self-sabotaging yourself too for other people. So it's going to be clearly discerned to you who should be in your circle, who shouldn't. This surgery is actually going to clear your mind to know, like, okay, well, these people were never for me in the first place. They just was around me because they felt better than me.
Well, I try to say, and I get that too, but I try to say that everybody had a purpose. It's just when you're elevated and evolving, you're no longer a part of my frequency. Like, I just look at it like that. Like, it's not that I didn't need you, you didn't need me. Like, we had a purpose together. And
you learned
contract
from it.
ended. Like, that contract is expired now.
But it also teaches you about yourself too. Because the
Absolutely.
purpose is for them to show you, like, maybe when you were that size, you wasn't paying attention. Because a lot of the times they already showing you them signs back then. But you so used to that. You so used to them until you change and your mindset, you shifting. You don't realize, oh damn.
Well, you know what? One thing I can say is some good people around me, friends, family, whatever. One thing we did kind of have conversations about is that we didn't see me as big as I was. Because it was like, it was genuine, unconditional love. So like, you will have people around you that's going to say that. Like, honestly, I didn't see, like, I see it, but I didn't see it because I wasn't focused on that. I really loved you for who you were.
And they see you through the whole process too. And they like you're gradually gaining weight too. So it's like, I'm used to you.
Yep.
So I think it gets more extreme when they see you the opposite way because they never really was thinking
saw you that way or thought of you that way. Yeah.
Or paying attention to that.
Yeah. This could also, I'm sorry, go
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, this could also segue into the body dysmorphia stuff because body dysmorphia, if y'all don't know what that is, it's pretty much where it's actually I think it's an actual, like a diagnosis, right? People can be diagnosed with body dysmorphia.
It probably can because I'm sure that's a part of like
it's like a disorder. Yes. Yeah. So it's like a disorder where you really truly have like you're very self-conscious.
A little bit about body dysmorphia, and to wrap that up, because your girl, we in the studio now, so we got to be on time, respectfully. But you know, we both have battled with body dysmorphia, and it's a really normal thing, especially going through weight loss surgery or just losing a large amount of weight in general. Just being able to go back and look at pictures. Clarify, like even when you feel down on yourself, because sometimes I be looking in the mirror, I'm like, my fupa, I'm ready for my tummy tuck, right? And I have to be like, girl, do you remember when your fupa looked like this? Do you remember when this? Do you remember when you felt like this? Do you remember you used to still wear crop tops? And you used to still wear two pieces?
And was still beautiful as fuck.
Exactly.
This woman was always beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Nesha was too. So we were both very beautiful people, inside and out. Keeping that mindset when you go through this, because you would think that just because you was confident at that size that you're gonna be confident at your new size.
Yes, that is such a that's not true. Like, it's so challenging because if you're not going through it, and just think about any experience, like any role that people play, and you're not going through it, you've never been through it, try your best not to judge, because you just don't know until you're actually experiencing it. Body dysmorphia, I don't have the scientific definition, but technically it's like a disorder, right? Where you see yourself heavier, bigger, you're very self-conscious about what you look like, and you compare yourself to others, or you compare yourself to your old self, which most likely you've lost a lot of weight and your body just looks different, but you still see yourself as a bigger person. And I saw that in some of those videos when I was researching a little bit early on before I got the surgery, and women experience that. And you don't think that it's going to happen to you until you're actually in it. So I absolutely experienced body dysmorphia. I still experience body dysmorphia. And I say, like, it all is rooted in mindset. It literally is all rooted in mindset. And it starts with thoughts, and then your thoughts turn into beliefs. And I use this literally, like I'm signaling that it starts up here and then it goes down here into your belief system, where it's kind of like embedded. And now you kind of like walk with that belief or that idea of who you are. So it's just a constant, to me, like uphill battle with self, and recognizing that you're on a journey. You're on a journey, and, you know, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to your old self, because you're still you're a new version of who you are, you know? So it's just kind of constantly reminding yourself that you're changing and evolving. You're taking it one day at a time. Change is not going to happen overnight.
And acknowledging how far you came. Because I think sometimes we can get into this journey and we want to lose more. It's just like something that just don't never be satisfying sometimes.
And that's with everything.
Everything, because we want more. When we make more money, we want more. I learned talking to yourself is essential. Like, wow, like I feel amazing. I remember when I couldn't do this thing.
Yes.
Wow, I feel amazing. I remember I couldn't wear this size. Just keep reminding yourself where you came from, how far you've come. Yes. Because when you get too hooked on to the what could you do more, you get too hard on yourself and you feel defeated. You got to remember where you came from, how far you've come. 100%. So we're gonna close off the podcast. Before we close off the podcast, I want Nesha to tell us what's some advice you can give anyone that's either considering VSG or has had VSG. Something that you wish you would have known, or some advice you want to tell them, and then also tell them where they can follow you and she's also going to have her podcast up soon. So still
Yes.
also tell them your YouTube so they can subscribe before.
Absolutely. So there was a bunch of questions. I mean, a bunch of ways to
Sorry.
end the podcast, but I'm gonna try my best to remember everything. And I've been drinking wine, y'all, and I'm not a big drinker, so I'm a little tipsy. What advice that I can give someone that is currently aspiring to do the VSG surgery and that has done a VSG surgery? I feel like y'all heard it, and it's gonna be very repetitive, but it's really like truly being mindful of like what you want, right? Just really focusing and going inward on what you want and following your intuition, your desires, following and surrendering to that. Cut out the outside noise, cut out the distractions, and really be honest with yourself about what you want and just go for it. And I think that it's easier said than done. So being very honest with yourself about what decisions you have to like make as far as changing and adjusting things in your life, recognizing how important it is to practice self-love is very important, of course, but recognizing that some of the foods that you're used to having a relationship with, you gotta break up with them. Okay, some of that stuff gotta go. But then also recognizing too, once after you do officially have a surgery, for those that are watching that had the VSG surgery, that it's very possible to put the weight back on. For me, I'm actually like, I feel like when I talk about VSG with Joanna, I'm rooting for her. Like, I'm like, this girl is, I've seen her from the beginning to this point, right? And it's very inspiring to see, because you see a lot of different journeys and you see people who got to a very, very drastic change and some that didn't. And I feel like I'm an example of somebody that I'm like in between. I'm like in the
She been through a drastic change.
I feel like I'm in the middle because
You lost over 100 pounds. That's drastic.
Did.
That's where you gotta
body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia.
But I'm just saying that to say that can be a possible outcome, that you may compare yourself still even after having a surgery. So don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself an immense amount of grace. Love yourself. Continue to practice self-love and work on
give
your mindset.
give yourself time too.
Yeah.
Because those things, you still got time.
100%.
And as long as you just working on whatever you want, you're just working on it gradually, trying to get better at it every day, it's gonna happen.
And be intentional. Don't do it for nobody else. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself, queen. You got it.
So, where can they follow you?
Oh, y'all can follow me on Instagram at Nesha by Nature. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have and we might just have to do a part 2 on my
We're going to do a part 2 on her podcast.
On my podcast. My podcast is called Do That Shit Scared. It's going to be dropping in September of this year, so y'all may not see an episode until September. But Do That Shit Scared is my podcast, and I have a YouTube channel, obviously, too. It's Nesha by Nature. So if y'all want to go follow me or subscribe on my channel right now, I don't have anything posted.
But go subscribe, because we gonna be on it. She gonna be on her solo podcast for the first couple episodes. We gonna do a podcast together. So get over there, subscribe. Wow.
Subscribe now.
Yeah, and I'll have it in the description box too, so you guys can click.
Yep, she'll put everything in there. But yeah, I'm a self-love intuitive coach. I'm a mother. I'm a healer. And I'm here to wake y'all asses up. And obviously, I'm a VSG candidate or participant, whatever you want to call it. And yeah.
She has a nonprofit called Women on Wednesdays. It's all about empowering women and healing. I'm going to put her website too in the description box. And Instagram, you can follow her at Women on Wednesday.
Yes.
As well. It's
_ So it's at _ Women on Wednesday. We'll put it right here.
Yeah, we'll put it in here. So make sure you guys follow her. We're going to close it off here. We'll see you guys in the next episode of Let's Trauma Bond.
Let's Trauma Bond, y'all. Thank you, Queen, for having me.
Thank you for coming. I'm so happy that Nisha's my first guest. It's my friend in real life.
I'm so honored.
But I'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right. Thank you.